Hello and welcome to 6-7 Hail Hail. We join you after another Celtic victory at Celtic Park against Livingston tonight, Hamish. I'm hosting because I'm in the warmth of my home and you're outside freezing. You look absolutely freezing. How are you doing? How was your night at Celtic Park?
Can I apologise for the hat here straight away because I know our wonderful viewers will comment anyway. So just to get that out of the way early doors. Want to mark down as 3 points and move on, mate. I don't think we'll be remembering the famous 2-1 victory over Livingston come the end of the season. I thought we played good stuff for parts. You know, I tweeted after about 35 minutes that I thought Celtic were magic. Second half I certainly wouldn't describe as magic, but we got over the line pretty comfortable. I mean, Livingston didn't really do anything. I know they had the kind of pinball late on, maybe about 2 or 3 minutes to go, and I know that 7 minutes was added on at the end for some reason. Obviously been watching the World Cup, but other than that, you know, relatively routine tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty comfortable. I know they got the goal back into it just before half time that kind of took the shine off the second goal, but I never felt like the result was in doubt or anything like that. Far from it, in fact. And I mean, what do you want to tackle first here? Because there's a few talking points for me here. There's the performance itself. There's the same old VAR chat. A lot of people are speaking about that as we speak. And I'm not sure that your experience of that might differ from the stadium compared to me watching on pay-per-view. So how was the VAR stuff in the stadium? And I know I sensed a lot of anger, obviously. It seemed like nobody really knew what was going on or why. Is that the case?
100%. I mean, for me, it's not kind of signposted well enough in the stadium. I know they put a message on screen, sometimes. Don't seem to do it other times. There's announcements sometimes, not other times. I know there's a difference between the referee putting his hand to his ear and listening to the VAR studio and actually, you know, a proper VAR check going on. I know there's a difference there, but it just seems like a lot of time has been wasted. And, you know, you can maybe explain this, but as far as I was aware, offsides weren't a thing that they went to the monitor for. I can only assume, without knowing anything, that there was a bit of dubiety over maybe who had kind of touched the ball last and all that stuff going on.
I think, I mean, I obviously can't be in the minds of referees. I think the referee is got, because offside is a pretty black and white thing. It should just be able to be checked. I think the referee was checking whether or not he thought the Livingston defender was trying to play the ball deliberately or not. And I think he's ruled that it wasn't a deliberate action, and I think that's why he's given offside, which I think personally is absurd because I think it was obviously a deliberate, movement towards the ball from the defender. It definitely touches the defender. It's a bit of a mess, to be quite frank with you. I think it took too long. I think it was confusing why the referee went over to the sideline. No explanations given, no communication. And it's one of those odd ones that will be debated, I think, over the next 24 hours or so. Abada was in an offside position initially when the ball was played forward. But for me, the defender deliberately taking an action to try and clear the ball, as far as I'm concerned, I think makes the Abada being in an offside position irrelevant. And the fact that the defender tried to play the ball and it came off him means that Abada was through and goal and should have been allowed to score. That's my understanding of it. I'm not going to pretend and sit here. I'm saying that with 100% authority. That's just the way I view it. But it was another strange one. Celtic seem to have drawn the chaotic VAR card from the deck of Scottish football since it's been introduced, Hamish, which is unfortunate because, again, we're talking about it before we're talking about the match. And just to bring it back to the performance itself, the man at the heart of that, Lyle Abada, he was really at the heart of everything. Pretty good for Celtic this evening. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. They gave the man of the match to him just shy of full time, and we all kind of nodded in agreement. I thought he was great tonight. I think it's one of his best performances in a while. He was really direct. Abada for me is at his best when he's direct, and I think at times he kind of doubts himself and maybe doesn't want to take defenders on. Tonight he was electric. It's his cross for the second goal, definitely, possibly first as well. That might have been Ralston. He obviously gets his goal that was chopped off. So I thought in general he was a real live wire, really gave us something that right-hand side. And, it was interesting. I don't know if you heard Ange's comments the other day, in fact yesterday it was, about Abada being good against teams who kind of sit in and Maida being good running into space. And It's funny because I'd always thought of Abada and Maida being really similar. I thought of them as the runners, and Jota and Haksabanovic as being the kind of ball players. But it was interesting, I thought, to hear Ange say that, he and the coaching team see Abada has been really useful in games like tonight and games like Saturday when defences are set in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Maeda is obviously exceptional at creating turnovers at times or forcing a team into playing the ball they don't want to play. Abada's just got that killer instinct, I think, in front of goal. And I think you even seen it with the goal that he sets up for Kyogo. He times that run so well. Like, he's looking right across the line. He knows he's not offside. He knows exactly when Ralston's going to play it for him forward. I mean, I thought in that first half, Ralston and Abada, that was really where the good things were being generated for us. I know we didn't create loads of chances, but, our best combinations were coming down that right-hand side. And Ralston's ball through for Abada is delightful. But for me, it's the timing of Abada's run to know exactly when to go and know exactly when to spring the trap. And obviously, it's a pretty simple ball for him to square to Kyogo to finish, but it's just that kind of killer instinct in those split seconds that is the difference between breaking down these teams and not breaking down these teams. And I thought Abada deserved his Man of the Match award tonight. I mean, again, I thought he was really good against Aberdeen when he came off the bench on Saturday as well. So be interesting to see if this is, the one thing for me about Abada, and we've spoken about this on and off air, Hamish, is that he's never really found consistency, and what I mean by, I know he scored a fair amount of goals last season, but he's never really found game to game or week to week consistency, and that's kind of the next step for him, I feel. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this could be the start of a little burst of form through a busy period that Abada's instrumental in.
Yeah, I thought he was great tonight. I thought we played some really good stuff, early on in the game. I really did think we moved the ball around well. I thought, McGregor was really involved in stuff. I was probably guilty of forgetting how good Callum McGregor is and how involved he gets in some of the attacking play. He's firing over to the left-hand side, getting the ball, working 1-2s, putting the ball across. And I really did think first half, that was a really good performance. The team were hungry. They were wanting to win the ball back when they lost it. And, we could have scored a few more. The amount of overlaps we got balls into the box. Kyogo could have scored a hat-trick in the first half if he'd just been, poaching like he was for the goal when he got it. But I thought generally first half we played a lot of good stuff. What do you think happened, after that to kind of let Livingston back into the game? Because that's the frustration for me. We played well, and yet we kind of let Livingston back into it.
I think we got, for the goal they scored, I think we just got caught a little bit unawares. I think we scored just before half-time. I think, it's happened a very handful of times under Ange Postecoglou, but I genuinely think Celtic just switched off a little bit and thought they had the 2-goal cushion going into half-time 2-0 up and just got caught a little bit. And obviously that just gives Livingston a little bit of belief, and they came out in the second half with, a bit of confidence, a bit of belief. I'm sure Martindale was into them at half-time and filling them with all that. So it's just one of those things where when there's one goal in the game, the other team are always going to be in it, and I think they felt like they had a chance to, have that one chance that might unlock the. And Hart did make a save towards the end. It wasn't a clear cut chance, but he did make a save. So, we're just losing Hamish here a little bit. Everyone, I don't know what that's all about. Hamish, I just did the worst covering job of all time while you were indisposed there, but I'm glad you're back. So you were chatting a bit about Callum McGregor there, you were chatting a bit about the performance in general, kind of Livingston getting back into it. Joe Hart made a save as I was kind of talking just before you disconnected, but again, as we said at the start of the show, it was never really like they were going to equalise or win the game, really.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm not sure how much you can hear me. It's a bit of a shambles. I've had to move to a different bit. My 5G went down completely. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear you and see you. Yeah. We can all hear and see you.
Right, we'll give it a go then. It's a bit of a shambles. It's nice and quiet though, at least. But yeah, I mean, I thought, second half, my frustration was we kind of let Livingston back into the game. I mean, I think we were fine. I just wonder how much there's an issue for this team that things are so easy for them. The vast majority of times we're so far ahead. in these matches, we're so dominant in these matches, and it's almost as if this obviously isn't the case, but it's almost as if they kind of want the opposition to get back into it a wee bit just to make things exciting so that we can kind of get a bit of excitement in our lives in the second half. It's something I certainly would like, going forward, to see us putting games, out of sight, because we have chances and not kind of, I feel like we're hanging on, not hanging on, sorry, but I feel as if games are going into like the last 10 minutes, not complete, not finished. And I really think over the next few games, that's something I want to see us do, put the ball in the back of the net and don't let opposition teams back into it. I mean, is it a concern for you at all? I know we're still winning games, but do you feel like maybe some daft drop points are around the corner?
Not really, and if it does happen, I'm comfortable enough about the cushion that we have not to be too concerned about it. I mean, there's very possible that we do draw a game. I mean, this is December football. This is December winter football. Yeah. I mean, that was a midweek December match if I've ever seen one for all sorts of reasons. And for me, it's just about, for me, two things that I look to is the team coming out and looking strong and active and intense from the start of the game, and getting that opening breakthrough before it gets too tense. Those are the two big things in these matches. And tonight, Celtic did that. I thought they started well and had intensity in their game, and they got the opening goal. I know it wasn't exactly pretty, but they got the opening goal early enough for no one to really be tense inside Celtic Park. So for me, there's no concern at all. I know everyone wants us to win 3 or 4-0 every week, but it's just not going to happen. You've got to get through these games, these tight games, and as long as we keep winning at the moment, I'm pretty happy. If we can keep winning up to the derby at Ibrox and then come through that and see what the lay of the land is after that, then that's fine by me. Just one thing I wanted to touch on, Hamish, was the injury to Anthony Ralston, which is unfortunate because we've been left a little bit tight in that position now. So just for everyone at home, the situation is that if Anthony Ralston misses the weekend, we can't play Alistair Johnston because he can't be registered to play with the SFA until the 1st of January. Josip Juranovic is still, on holiday and still recovering from his exploits of the World Cup, and actually picked up a calf injury towards the end of that was going to keep him out for a couple of weeks. So it's looking likely that, we might have to put Greg Taylor or Bernabe over onto that right flank. Greg Taylor obviously played there tonight, and I thought he did all right, and so it'll be interesting to see if he now starts this game on at the weekend, Hamish.
He was fine, Greg Taylor, as you would expect. He's put over there, didn't complain, did fine. I wouldn't say he looks totally comfortable though. Obviously,
no, of course,
I mean, when do you ever see a left-footed right back? Have you ever seen one in your life? And everything he was kind of doing, in a way, it kind of suits him because he can play in the park and kind of link up that way. But everything he did was cutting in. So, I mean, looking at games, Hibs is a big one I'm kind of looking at now, and hopefully I think Juranovic is getting a week off. I guess he's in the midst of having that week off at the moment. So, hopefully he'd be back for Hibs. If Ralston's not available, that is a wee bit of a concern for that game. If we do perhaps have Taylor playing on the right, because I did feel as if our kind of controlling the game and just that kind of fluidity we had went a little bit at that stage. I just felt the team looked a little bit awkward for maybe 5-10 minutes. Understandably after that happened, I was kind of wondering when Ralston kind of went down in the first half whether what we would do, and I wondered maybe if Carter Vickers would even go over to right back, because he's played there in the past. I think a few years ago, I think at Bournemouth he played a lot of football at right back. So I wondered if we'd maybe put him at right back and play Jens or Welsh in the centre. But clearly Ange wants to keep. I think Ange really wants to get that Carter Vickers Starfelt partnership going, and I think that could be a big part of this second half of the season.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Well, obviously, I'm not trying to declare a serious injury on Ralston, but it's just that he looked a little bit sore going off, so I would expect him to miss at least one game here with that kind of knock. I think we'll try and wrap it up quite swiftly, Hamish. That was a bit chaotic in the middle there. You can go back and see how badly I covered for you disappearing. It wasn't the most comfortable. Why does it always go wrong when I'm hosting? I mean, that one wasn't even my fault, Hamish, and everything always just seems to go wrong when I'm the one saying hello, welcome to 6th Hail Hail.
It's fine. We'll cut it out, and only the people who watched it live, only the 634 people watching live, so you stumble about like mad, John. Everyone else watching afterwards will have no clue what happened unless they watch it before midnight.
I was not only stumbling about, but I was also leaning over to stay in the window because I couldn't work out the frames over the top.
I noticed the window had gone now.
You know what? It was never like we were going to lose. Just like Celtic tonight, we got the victory done. We got the job done. Thanks to everyone for joining us live for this one. Hamish will be back on for more videos later in the week.
Answering your questions. So if you've got any kind of thoughts on tonight's game, fire them in. I'm going to batter through at least 10 for tomorrow's video. So you have my word now.
I've got a prediction, Hamish. I think you'll be talking about VAR again tomorrow, unfortunately.
Okay.
I just think I don't know why. I just think there's going to be a little bit of fallout on this one again because I think it was just a little bit bizarre and chaotic again. Rightly or wrongly, whatever the call was, whether it was right or wrong, it's just taken too long and it's just a little bit daft for the people in the stadium. I feel for the people in the stadium because they're sitting there in the cold. They don't know what's going on. They're sitting there for 5 minutes wondering whether the celebration of the goal they just had is valid or not. But yeah, no, great for everyone joining us. Thanks for everyone saying I handled that okay in the chat. You're very kind. We'll see you again on 67 Hail later. Hamish, safe journey home and try not to get mugged again. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.